This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
That's exactly where I'm headed with this. So Hunter's out for a long, long time. The show's must go on, and let's talk about this. Rock's gone, Hunter's gone. There's a lack of top tier talent. The very next night, at a SmackDown taping, it's decided to have a TLC match with very little hype, by the way. It's between Benoit and Jericho, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardys. I mean, there's a lot. Is this like a ratings pop? Is that what we're trying to go for here? Or, this was
desperation booking,
together.
Paul.
Yeah.
Desperation booking is all that was.
Yeah.
Where do we go from that last encounter where Triple H got hurt and Austin was on the losing team? So, it was just a little knee jerk, no doubt. But here's the other thing. On the other hand, you're not going to put the Dudleys and the Hardys in a match of this nature and it not be good. So you knew, at least for the audience's sake, they're going to enjoy what they're seeing. And I thought that those guys also turned it on. Was it on the same level as some of the other great TLC matches where you added Edge and Christian to the mix and all that good stuff? I don't know. That's subjective. That's your opinion. Whatever you think is what it is. Then you'd be right. Your opinion's right.
That's right.
So
we all have them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
the beautiful thing about this, we're allowed to have our own opinions.
Yeah, I think so. So anyway, it was a little knee-jerk booking, and they went to a tried and true, unlike this Duchess of whatever match.
The Duchess of Queensberry.
Yeah, that never reared its ugly head again. You went back to something that had worked in the past.
There you go.
In a TLC match. And the audience was sold on it because they'd seen some of them and they totally enjoyed them. All we're hoping to do is keep the momentum rolling for our team. And we didn't. And here's the irony of this thing. I can't understand. And you always got to prepare for the worst case scenario, as I mentioned earlier. I can't understand why we didn't have people in the on deck circle ready to take that one step up or over or whatever you want, how you want to term it, to be that missing baby face that we're losing. We're not going to replace Triple H seamlessly, but we didn't provide the opportunities to have people ready in case something tragic happened. When Austin got hurt, we had a guy named Dwayne Johnson that we never missed a beat. But those don't grow on trees. And Rock had left to go explore his career, he's done pretty damn good at it, as a matter of fact. Last I looked, I'm proud of him. So, that was bad. That was a creative malfunction. We weren't doing any long-term planning, and that's why the TV seemed to be written hours before they aired, and that's not the best philosophy.
Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com.
Well, here we go. And this is a philosophy I'm going to ask you about. It's decided to shelve Austin and Jericho's feud and to include Benoit and make it a three-way type of feud. Was this the right move in your mind? I'm going to share some of Jericho's thoughts with you here shortly.
I don't know why we needed to do that quick. Would it be good? Yeah, of course it would be good. Anytime you can add a healthy Austin to Benoit and Jericho, how can that be bad as far as the mechanics of the match is concerned? But I think it was another one of those issues where it was just a little bit rushed. And that was more of the norm then than it should have been. And I don't have 10 reasons why. Look, the company's run by one guy. That's what he wanted. He was convinced that this is what we should be doing by either his own creativity or somebody sold him on the idea. I don't know. It wouldn't be sold him on it because I thought, again, we run to those gimmick matches, those the triple threats, the ladders, all these things, and we didn't rely on good old-fashioned, fundamentally sound pro wrestling. And one of the reasons for that is our chairman was not a huge fan old school, fundamentally sound one-on-one wrestling. It was too wrestling for him, as he said many times to me. That's too wrestling, JR. Okay, I thought that's what we did.
Well,
but apparently not in his eyes.
Well, Jericho's going to talk about this. He's going to talk about it in his book, about this whole why all of a sudden they felt the need to move Benoit and to make this a three-way instead of go him and Austin at this point. And he talked to Conrad about it again on the podcast that they did together. And Chris said, I was disappointed in the whole scenario because if you look at this, me and Chris were baby faces once again, and they needed baby faces to work with Steve, Jericho recalled. And for whatever reason, Vince lost faith in me pretty much instantly. Then they bring in Benoit and lost faith in Benoit pretty much instantly because if you look through that time frame, Spike Dudley got involved. And Spike Dudley ended up in a little bit of a feud with Steve Austin. So even though Benoit and Jericho are challenging for the title, Spike's got all the promo time. Spike's got all the steam. It was really, really weird. I remember thinking like the second week after the match was announced, I said to Chris Benoit, like, we're done. Like, he's already given up on us. He's got Spike in there doing all the stuff and not us. And I was really disappointed. What was it about Chris that made Vince constantly give up on him, or at least made him feel that way?
I don't know, Paul. I don't know. I can't keep going back to his height. You know, he may have thought Chris didn't have the championship charisma because he wasn't over the top. He was very basic, very real. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did know the answer, I guess, for sake of the show and other things.
But Vince never whispered or made a side comment or anything that would made you think.
Benoit also, we talked about Benoit in Vince's eyes being bland.
Okay.
And too bland to be a torchbearer. Jericho was never accused of being too bland. I just think that, you know, personality conflicts, hell, I don't know what it was. It could be a lot of things. But again, you go back and look at it, and I gauge the stars by how well they perform bell to bell. And you kind of convinced me, and you can bring your lunch to do that because it's going to take you a while. I'm not going to ever believe that Benoit and Jericho would, you put them in the ring and ring the bell, they're not going to have a good match with whomever and whatever. And that was kind of a blessing and a curse for those two guys. If somebody had a wild hair and a creative meeting, and you know, sometimes you know, Vince would go off some of these crazy stipulations or premature stipulations. You know, I knew like I said, my only salvation was for me. I knew the matches were going to be good. Was it good for long-term planning? No. And the reason it's not going to work is you got two of the great workers that had not had their cup of coffee at the top of the charts yet, and Benoit and Jericho. And you had three baby faces in the match because no matter what Austin did to Rock at WrestleMania 17, that's what we're following. Then, you know, at the Astrodome, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, because Austin was not going to be a heel. So there's missing pieces. And there's miscasting. In other words, in the old pro wrestling vernacular, misbooking. Booking was off. The wrong people were playing offense and wrong people were playing defense, so to speak.
I think it's important, though, as we go through this, because, again, you're head of talent relations. You were one of Vince's right-hand guys. And Jericho's pretty passionate about it in his book about thinking, hey, something's off here with Vince, and you're clearly stating in your mind and what you heard and as you were there in the office, you heard nothing directly from Vince at any time as to why he would doubt giving Jericho the ball at this point and letting him run with it as an individual performer. So I'm glad that you stated that because I think that needed to be out there and shared.
I don't know why it happened.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been somebody whispering in Vince's ear. Chris could be outspoken. He didn't hold back when he had something to say, and he was not intimidated by expressing himself. So, and that always didn't flush well with Vince over the years. Not a foolproof deal. So that may have something to do with it. I don't know.
Okay.
But nonetheless, it's just still a mystery to this day.
Understood. Well, Jim, we've made it to the middle of the year. It's June 24th. We're at the Continental Airlines Arena in New Jersey, and it's the King of the Ring, and it's Jericho versus Benoit versus Austin for the WWF title. It is Jericho's first shot at the WWF title on pay-per-view, and, well, here's what Chris Jericho had to say about it from his book once again. I thought the match was the shits. The dynamic is terrible. Two baby faces trying to fight a heel for the title, and Vince didn't want Chris and I to have any disconnection or any issues between us. So basically, Austin beat the two of us. The so-called top baby faces clean. Okay, remember, Austin's heel here. I thought it would have been much better off if they just sort of stuck with me and Steve. You could have had Steve beat me clean, whatever, that's fine. Then he could have gone over Chris. Done whatever you're going to do with that, but at least we would have had a chance to go one-on-one with Austin as the champion and even as the babyface. If you lose to the champion, it's still a title match. It's still a main event. But Vince didn't see it that way and didn't see Jericho and Benoit as being main event babyfaces, apparently.
Well,
there we go.
The mind of a madman.
This is Benoit's last match for a long time. He's going to have neck surgery, and the invasion really jumps off as Booker T interferes and puts Austin through a table, creating a dynamic of the WWF champion versus the WCW champion. But after all that, Austin still wins, and Jericho is in no better spot than before and probably worse off. It's tricky to make everyone better from a creative spot, but was creative doing anything for Chris at this juncture?
Well, you got a territory that was built on babyface champions. I said earlier about Gorilla's 9-year, or Gorilla, God bless him, Bruno's 9-year run or 11-year run total, babyface. Bob Backlund, babyface. Pedro, babyface. And then it's a territory that was built on babyface champions. And now we're going to try to make Austin a heel, which never got over.
Right.
And still be the leader of the pack. So the roles were reversed. If anything should have happened, of course, Steve wasn't going to go for it because being a heel was his idea. I'm sure he would have been, he sat down and gone through all. Steve was a team guy. He just had strong beliefs of his own judgment, and he knew what he thought was best for Stone Cold better than anybody else. And I would say that was probably accurate. But to have a lukewarm heel at best, and people still wondering what happened to the old Stone Cold, what are you going to do? So it was tough booking. A lot of masters were trying to be served, and it was counterproductive. And Jericho, as I said, would be better off if he had turned heel. And again, we got back to some really good babyface versus heel matches. To me, that is still the most compelling thing. A heel versus a babyface with a personal issue involved. And if you got a hot title, not just any title, you got a hot title, you throw that in you season the soup with that as well. I'd use JR's all-purpose seasoning, but that's just me.
There you go. Like it. I like how you weave it in there.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.